We're going to be getting started on the first episode of State of Brawl real soon. As people come in, we'll let them in.
Yeah,
So
please spread the link, guys.
yeah, if you got to smoke a cigarette, if you got to, whatever you got to do, this is your time to do it. This is everyone. We're all casually come in here. Also, by the way, you guys know us. It's your boy Rapture here with T.O. Joe.
My mans.
So we're here representing Even Matchup Gaming and TSI, the Smash Illuminati.
Yeah, we got that
guys,
Canada and America flow going. Couldn't be happier. Couldn't be happier. Right? Shout out to the Brawl community. You guys have been coming up huge these past 24 hours.
Well, I definitely, we have a lot to say about that. And then before what we're gonna do here, real quick. Well, actually, to be honest, I'm down to do this. I have no one else in the room. I'll do this all night. I don't care. I'll talk about Brawl anytime. But more to the point, what we're going to do here is we're going to be pretty much covering what has happened the past few days. And then we will be taking calls and bringing people into the Skype call and having them join up. So make sure that you guys, if you want to be part of it, make sure you guys talk in the chat. Hit us up on Twitter or Facebook. And I'll try and add people swiftly if I can. I'm trying to operate many different things here, and of course Joe will help me out as well. So it'll be hype. So spread the word. Twitch.tv/Even Matchup Gaming. That's where you gotta be. You guys are already here, so it's all hype. Shout out to everyone who's just joining up. Thank you guys for coming in and loving Smash Bros, loving Brawl. You know what it is.
Yeah, shout outs to everyone that's supported the free SSBB movement so far. We're not even close to where we need to be, but this is definitely a step in the right direction. And
this is and I want I want to talk about this, but I don't want to talk about it just yet because I want more people in. So, but I do want to talk about the fact that the past 2 months, Brawlers, we definitely slacked a bit, and I think
no doubt.
I think it's important for us to acknowledge that and reflect on that before we move on, and take take further action, because there's a lot to be said, and I don't want us to we have a solid foundation, but I don't want us to get the wrong idea about what the future may bring, and et cetera, so why not make things clear and then be like, all right, what can we do?
I mean, to be honest, we got a little bit too comfortable once MLG announced that Brawl was going to be on the lineup. We thought that MLG was going to be our savior. And as a result, when they took us off, a lot of people just decided to throw in the towel because that's pretty much all they were relying on. But for the people that stepped up and realized that we're bigger than one event, we're bigger than one tournament, we're bigger than anything that you can imagine just one event can bring.
Yeah.
That's where we are right now. It's trying to raise the bar in terms of the role people feel they can play in the community. It's not just about one tournament organizer bringing everyone back into the spotlight. This is a community effort, and if we want the scene to grow, it needs to be a united effort. And Melee showed that. Like I said in one of my previous tweets, Melee laid out the blueprint for what we need to do, because they were in the exact same position as us a couple months ago. And I think a lot of people forget that. Melee was in the midst of dying, and they weren't going to be on EVO stage. But they fought for it, and they made it happen. So Brawl needs to do the same if they want the same recognition and respect. We can't expect stuff handed to us anymore. We got too comfortable with that.
Yeah.
We're not esports just yet. We're still grassroots, and people got to start mowing the lawn.
Yeah, totally, dude. Like the lawn has to be mowed. It's been a long time coming.
My man.
So let's see. Let's see if we can get some more people in here. Also, we got Skate.
Shout out to Twitch TV Gaming for retweeting that tweet, by the way. Much appreciated.
Oh, what tweet?
The tweet I just sent out that we were live.
Oh, wow. Did Twitch really retweet that?
Twitch TV Gaming did. I don't know if they're officially partnered.
Oh, I thought you meant the actual Twitch Twitter. I was gonna say, I was like, damn, all right. But
dude, we're not there yet. Gotta stay humble. Gotta stay humble so far.
Gotta stay humble. Yeah, so right now I'm playing for you guys Skatar 2. Of course, the CT0 versus ADHD match where Zero incorrectly puts in that side B and gets hit at the last second by ADHD's down smash on Smashville. So I got the entire set playing right now, so it's a good set. we're gonna let some more people roll in here, but we're gonna try and get a few people who have messaged me personally who want to get in on the action here. I know that Esam wants to talk a little bit. I know that Xax, I'm probably gonna pull him in first and see what he wants to say, and a lot of this is letting people's voices be heard. So I really want to see what people have to say and what
definitely
how they've formed their opinion on Brawl the past 6 years and what they think about it. Because it's not just for me. It's not just giving up on Brawl, but it's like Brawl is part of going into Smash 4 for me. Because the Smash 4 and Brawl are much more alike than Melee and Smash 4 are most likely. But it's a progression of not only the game but the community. And I feel like just like throwing it in when we have Smash 4 right around the corner, and we could be working towards building up a better foundation for Smash 4. Why not do that? I don't understand where that's coming from.
I mean, right now we're in a time where Brawl is pretty much it's the game that's on the lowest tier of all the Smash titles, even lower than Smash 64, I would say, because of just the constant bad reputation that it has and the bad publicity that it gets. And that's not just a one-way street. That's a two-sided battle, because yeah, there are a lot of trolls, there are a lot of haters for the game, but there aren't enough supporters. There aren't enough people publicly promoting the game and promoting it in a good image. We need more of our community leaders to step up, more of our top players to be active on social media, creating content, and getting people involved in the discussion. I think that's one of the biggest things that's held back, Brawl back compared to Melee. Melee is so active on social media. There's always a discussion going on. People are always talking about it. If you wanna talk to D1, you wanna talk to Prague, you just tweet them up, hit up their Ask FM, and you can do that. Yeah. But if you wanna hit up a top Brawl player, like let's say Nairo, where can you get in touch with Nairo? I don't even think that dude has a Twitter, and I'm not firing shots at Nairo by any means. I'm just using him as an example of a lingering problem that's been overall in the Brawl community for a while.
Right now, trying to add Xax to the call. Oh,
shoutouts to Xax.
Shoutouts to Xax. Xax, if you're watching this, you gotta accept me on Skype. There you go. There's the call to Xax. Alright, so we're going to be adding Xax to the call. And we're going to see what he has to say here. Xax, if you guys don't know, is a member of Clash Tournaments. He is a Brawl Falco player, also plays Smash 64, also plays Melee. He also plays PM. He also is a great PM player. He's a really good Zelda. So, Xax, what are you doing, my man? I'm trying to add him to the call, but I'm being a total nubcake right now. Okay.
I mean, I'm chilling, man. The night is still in diapers.
Alright, Xax, how you doing, man?
What's up?
Not much.
Yo, what's good, dude? Good to hear from you, man. Haven't talked to you in a little bit.
No, since Apex.
Yep, but those are definitely good times. Had a blast.
Great times, man. This game. First off, what I really want to say is.
Yeah, go for it. Air him out.
It's a little upsetting to me. I'm not gonna lie. In the beginning of the day, I was a little, not emotional, but I was a little sad that we didn't make it into MLG, and I was a little negative at first. But seeing you and Doom, especially in the beginning, just standing up and being the better man that I was, kind of gave me some motivation, and it's crazy to see how many people just giving up. And that's why I don't understand, because truthfully, Brawl is pretty much at its last leg, and instead of like these last couple months, people, enjoying what we get left, they just want to say, well, fuck it. Which I don't understand. It's been 6 years. We've all spent a lot of time, and I don't get how people can just say, fuck it, they had a good run. Let's just move on with our lives and fuck Brawl.
I think the thing is, Smash just recently has been becoming quote-unquote an esport. We're starting to see big viewers in the stream, big pop prizes, and a lot of growth. And I think a lot of people were expecting Brawl to sort of leech on to the success that Melee had. And when they saw that we didn't have that straight gateway through MLG to get to that meteoric esports level, people got down about it. But I think it kind of brings up a bigger problem, because the hunger and the motivation should be there whether or not there's 10 people at your tournament or 100 people. You should still always want to compete, do your best, and represent the scene. And I think a lot of our top players didn't convey that. A lot of them seem to just want to be in this for the fans. They just wanted to be in it for the popularity, for what they could gain from it, but they weren't putting enough back into the community. That's why we started this whole movement. We started this whole podcast. We want to put stuff back into the community. Enough of just promoting one player. Enough of just celebrating a player's victory and a player's defeat. It's about celebrating a community united and a community that is still alive, because we are far from dead.
Definitely alive.
We are far from dead. The proof is in today's social media, just explosion for free SSBB. Shout out to hashtag free SSBB, by the way.
Shout outs. Definitely.
Okay, well here's what not to cut you off, Joe, but I want to comment here, because your boy XX Zero is playing in this match, but he was real quick to be like, I'm not practicing Brawl anymore. I don't know. It just it's one of those situations where I feel like everyone's making this knee-jerk reaction. I don't want to call out Zero because I love Zero, but he did do that, and considering he's a top player who really focuses on his brand, I just felt like it felt a little weird for Brawl literally hadn't been dropped for more than a day. A half a day, it was within hours.
Well, in Zero's defense, the past month or two, I really say that he has been more in a Melee state of mind. But the thing with Zero is, I feel like if he doesn't want to practice Brawl at this point in time, he doesn't really need to practice Brawl to compete at the level. But at the same time, he shouldn't talk down on it.
Yeah.
And I've had a discussion, because I'm around Mewtwo King a lot. I had a discussion with him, and Chiba also chimed in on this. When he goes on stream at a Melee tournament and just say Brawl sucks, Brawl's boring, Brawl singles is a bad game. But when people say it like that, and they're the face of the community, especially Mewtwo King, because Mewtwo King is without a doubt the Michael Jordan esque of the community, and when he talks, people listen. And if he's going on stream with 10,000 people watching, and they're already Melee players who are already probably in the stream saying fuck Brawl, Brawl sucks, and he's sitting there saying Brawl's a dead game, Brawl's a lost hope, I don't care about the game sucks. That doesn't really, that's not a good look.
Yeah, that's sort of my point, is that whether or not Zero actually practices Brawl, I don't care. He can practice whatever he wants. The point is that Brawl gets dropped, and people are looking for confidence. They're not looking for disappointment. And Zero goes, I'm not going to practice Brawl. He doesn't have to say he's not going to practice Brawl. And sure, it is up to him whether or not he wants to give that information. Sure, and I'm not really judging him on the decision. It just seems for someone who should be very aware about image and brand and all that kind of stuff, to know how important it is for someone of his caliber to still show support any way they can. And how many followers does Zero have? Any fans does Zero have? And how many of them are Brawl fans, most likely? Finding him as a Brawl player and seeing, I'm not going to practice Brawl anymore. Even if he is actually not going to practice Brawl anymore, it's more the fact that he says it, in public, Twitter, public at this point, and he doesn't, and then sort of backtracks on it. I'm like, again, I'm not knocking Zero. It just if we're gonna be real about free Brawl, right, or just supporting Brawl until Smash 4, which I think is the most reasonable thing. At the very least, don't make it look like the second that MLG doesn't pick it up, the pro players will leave. Yeah. Since when has Smash ever been reliant on MLG anyway? That's something I've been saying all day. It's never been.
But this is the thing. This is the thing. We have, it's an opportunity to get into MLG, and people I don't want to throw really Zero under the bus either, but he's not contributing. I've seen D1 and Prague contribute more than 99% of the top players in Brawl, or the people that really have a voice in the Brawl community. They've gone out on arm and limb, and all their fans are probably mainly the Melee players that, you know, say that they don't like Brawl, but they're still getting their voice out about Brawl. And another thing I really want to touch on is just how I've been saying, you know, we've been playing 6 years for this game. All of us, anybody who's paying attention to Brawl or paying attention to the stream, most likely, you know, has traveled all around to different countries, maybe all around this country in the United States. You know, spent countless hours. You know, me personally, I've put a lot of time in this game. I've traveled, spent a lot of money, missed out on a lot of good, you know, pussy for this game. I've done I think all of us have contributed a lot, you know, to trying to make this community something bigger and support and, you know, go to all the events. And I don't see how, you know, at the very end of what it seems to be Brawl's life, we're saying, you know, screw this game. It's not worth it. It's not worth trying to, you know, it's not worth our time anymore.
I definitely agree with you, Exact. This is Seagull popping in just to say my input on the whole thing. It's just my scene in MDVA has actually completely died in terms of Brawl. TM is flourishing, like really, really big. It's bigger than our Melee team. He just had a one-man local.
By the way, guys, I added Seagull Joe. How you doing, man? And also Esam. Added them to the call. So you guys should obviously know them. Notable Brawl players, both of them placing very well at Apex. We're going to let them chime in as well. So, Joe, you're saying you don't see as much Brawl. What about in Florida, Esam? How's the situation down there?
Well, actually, Florida's been doing pretty well in the Brawl community specifically because of Sabric, or Clash Tournament Sabric, if I'm going to put the sponsors out, is doing this thing called Tier Breakers, which is pretty much a different tournament format. Kind of like super crew battles, but you're stuck with a crew for a season, so you're trying to make them better. And then, you know, winner takes all. But it really encourages, you know, there's a huge separation between the pros, or the really, really good players, and, you know, the entry-level players, or, you know, what's called the scrubs. Normally, you know, the pro players don't really care to show them anything, but with the new format that Sabric is incorporating, it really allows for a lot of growth, and we've actually seen tremendous growth in the community. Unfortunately, I'm not down there, but
that actually gives me a really good idea about a way we can start maybe making Brawl better for the newer entries to the scene. I don't know if you guys remember this, or if you went to a tournament like this, but Makos at one point hosted a tournament where it was basically 3 versus 3 crew battles, and a newer way we could do that, which could help newer players, have one ranked player, one mid-level player, and then one, you know, low-level player on crews. I don't know, as like a side event. It might, you know, be interesting.
Well, I feel like in this point in time, I'm gonna throw myself under the bus for this one. I get a lot of, I don't get that many, but I get some Facebook messages of people, you know, asking for, you know, advice and stuff like that. And I'm not gonna lie, a lot of times I ignore people, but I think at this point in time, everybody who has the opportunities to should just, you know, give it their all and help anybody out that they can, promote, you know, act more professionally too, and stream more. You know, I seen Prague post earlier on Facebook how that there's no like guides in Brawl at all. There's no character guides, no really like mechanic guides, nothing like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just if you really compare Melee success to Brawl, Melee has everything we don't. They have, you know, a more mature community, you know, people that are striving to go into the right direction without really this, you know, kind of program you guys are starting. Before this is the first of its kind really in the Brawl community. I
did directional influence.
Well,
I was
but
also the host.
I like DI. That was good.
That was good, but that wasn't really.
It wasn't as community
fluff. It was fluff.
It
was fluffy.
It was news. It was news, but I think the main issue that we pointed out here is that not enough people are promoting the scene. They're not building upon what Brawl's already established. Whereas in Melee, we're seeing a lot of support from a lot of different people. In Brawl, sure, there are people that are streaming, but how many people are retweeting other people's streams? How many people are trying to compete with other people's numbers? In Melee, it's not about competition. It's about elevating everyone to the same level. I think a lot of brawlers need to step up their game in terms of not only trying to create their own brand, but also helping others establish theirs as well.
Yeah.
It's not just about one face of the community. It's not just about the guy that wins all the tournaments. It's about giving a platform for
one unit.
players. Because it's one unit, exactly. One person doesn't define this scene, and one tournament doesn't define this scene. And that's what we should take away from this discussion. And that's why we're having it right now, because people need to realize that Brawl is a lot more than just camping. Brawl is more than Meta Knight. Brawl is more than Ice Climbers. And we haven't done a good enough job of showing that. But there are people that have stepped up.
I forgot Olimar.
Olimar's not right.
Olimar is not in this game.
Yo, guys, people have... hi, by the way.
By the way,
But-
it's Juice Doom here.
Yeah,
oh,
Juice
shut the
Doom.
Doom. That's my man. Everyone give big shout-outs to Max. That is the homie forever.
Max
Yo,
knows
what's
I
up,
love
everybody?
him. Max knows I love him.
Yeah, I love you kids too. You guys are pretty awesome. Anyway, yeah, Brawl has definitely like developed into a much more aggressive and watchable game. And actually, Meta Knight is pretty sick to watch. I don't know. I feel like anyone
I
who
agree.
complains about Meta Knight just because it's Meta Knight is kind of living in 2009.
Hey, I mean,
There
I
are
love-
some situations though where it's kind
Can't
of
be
like,
Meta Knight, man.
I mean, as a Wolf player, I love fighting Meta Knight.
Man, I still commend you for all those years ago. I said, "And Wolf's not the way to go." You did prove me wrong. You're a man I wish I could have been.
Yeah, dude, your wolf is really good, man. You make him look usable.
When you guys were talking about points earlier about Meta Knight and Ice Climbers, while Meta Knight and Ice Climbers may seem like the meta, I mean, it's much more easy to complain about that because it's more noticeable, I guess, in Brawl. Because in this game, tiers are important, but even in Melee, tiers are very definitive in that game. The top characters, I mean, it's generally, you see Fox everywhere. It's just, he's a more winnable matchup, I guess, for some people when you learn them. But that's one thing people are not doing anymore, is they're not learning things anymore. They're just giving up.
Yeah, I think this is really important. At the very least, for the sake of Smash 4, instead of throwing in the towel, I think we should seriously work on Brawl's variety of content, so that way when Smash 4 comes out, the community really knows what kind of content should be made immediately. Like, we should start, guides should be even for not for the sake of the game, but at least just so the community gets used to making these guides. Making guides for whatever advanced technique, whatever kind of matchup thing.
It's even deeper than that. I don't mean to interrupt you, but it's even deeper than that. It's just I made a post on Melee and on me yesterday. There's a bunch of things that we really need to work on in preparation for Smash 4, especially if Smash 4 is a really good game and all the communities are in one. We have this community separation where no people from the Melee community, people in the Brawl community don't know each other. We don't talk face to face. And if Smash 4 is a big game where we all play and it's a good game and everybody plays that game, it's like, wow, 6 years of us, ignoring each other, bashing on each other, hating on each other, and now we are, one. Now we have to face the music and sit and deal with these people that we didn't want to before, and it shouldn't be like that. No, go ahead.
But there's
Go ahead, man.
You can't exactly say like we've been ignoring each other, because first off, like at the beginning there was a lot of attempt to assimilate the communities before there was really a split in the community. Opinions of the game were thrown out and everything, and then people who didn't like it stayed with Melee or quit, and then people who liked Brawl continued to play Brawl or played both, such as myself. But the one thing that we as a Brawl community do not have is drive. The last time I made a post on Facebook, just my personal Facebook, because I don't really want to post it on Melee on me or the new Brawl group or whatever, because I don't really want it out there like that. But MLG was the single most driving factor for the Brawl community as a whole. We were like, yeah, we're Brawl community, yeah, and there was Apex, we were like, yeah, this is cool, but it wasn't Brawl. But MLG 2010, everyone across the country was like, yo, we're going to be the best. We are going to try so hard. We are going to improve our communities. We are going to do anything we can because we want to win.
Honestly, I want to say that I think a lot of the hate that we get, or we get, is because people can just sit on, be keyboard warriors. Like when people say, "Oh,
keyboard Katie's,
we're not a community or whatever." When I go to Apex 2014, and I get to chill with all you guys and all the other people I know from Smash, and I get to see all these awesome things and meet these people I never would have been able to meet before. This is all from Brawl. This this is something that's not exclusive to Brawl, but that's where it came from. And then people, when things are shitty, everyone's like, "Oh, we're not really a community." We really are, and I think we really need to understand like how being a community should function, and that's looking out for people in the community, and that includes everyone in Smash. If you're a Smash brother, you got to look out for your boys the same way you look out for
sister.
anyone you hang out with, or sisters. Yes, exactly, or anything in between. Yes, it's. Oh, by the way, huge hype thing happening on stream. ADHD hits 0 with that down smash from Skatar 2. It's good. But yeah, I mean, honestly, I think you're right. There's a lot that has to be worked on, and it's tough because it's a lot of people who, a lot of them are just here to play the game, and that's perfectly fine because you can't expect everybody to get in on the social issues. But I think logically, as members of the community, we really need to think about the long term, the bigger picture here, which I think involves doing right by Brawl.
And honestly,
Exact. Sorry if I'm interrupting.
I'll go right after you.
I just want to touch on a point that Exact made earlier. Exact said that there's not really that much like friendships established between Brawl and Melee players, and I think that sort of highlights the fact that not enough Brawl players are telling their story, their personal side. The Smash Brothers documentary, that was huge to building Melee success. And you want to know why that was huge? It's because it made people feel like they were part of the community. It made them understand the faces behind the gameplay. It wasn't just about the gameplay. Brawl gets hated on so much because all people have to judge is the gameplay itself. And if the gameplay isn't their cup of tea, they just shit on it. But what about
except for the actual community?
Exactly. What about the community? What about the people that are dedicated? Let's take Nairo, for example. If people knew that dude struggled, if people knew how hard that dude worked to win Apex, how much it meant to him, no one would ever fucking boo that dude off the Apex stage. No one would ever do that shit. But we don't have an outlet where players are promoting themselves, where players are getting out and showing their personal side. Players aren't willing to do that right now, and they need to step up if they want this game to survive, because their gameplay alone cannot carry a community. You need personality. You need brands. You need people that show that they care about interacting with people inside this community. It's not just about competing. It's not just about winning anymore. And I think a lot of people fail to realize that in Brawl. That's why we see the camping. That's why we see the unnecessary stuff. When me and Shadow were on Spooky Stream on the Pokemon Stadium transformation, I told him straight up, dude, come to the other side. I will not attack you for going over. I'm not going to sit on Spooky Stream for a minute and a half and not approach you at all. That is not how I want to represent this game. I care about how people view us. I care about how people view me and my friends in this scene because I care about it so much. Not enough people are showing that, and we need more people to step up.
I agree.
Good point.
I agree.
You do have to play to win to some degree.
Right.
Entirely,
exactly.
You have to play to win. But yeah, I mean, something like the Pokemon Stadium transformation. Yeah, I mean, don't bore the world like on the main stage with that. Like that's.
I mean, that happens in Melee too. To be fair.
Yeah, I mean,
it happens in every.
You can't really say things like that because.
Guys, I was just using.
We're strong. We know.
That was just an in-game example. Remember, the main point I was trying to put out there is the personal side of players, more than just what's going on the screen.
Exactly.
People need
to be
that
fair.
stuff. I just wanted to give you that gameplay example to show how it can transition, not only just in the personal character of someone, but also how they show themselves on the screen.
You know, and
but to be fair, the things that
lane
happen...
is lane. Lane is all across fighting games. I'm not saying get rid of the lane stuff. I'm saying have players do more than just promote their gameplay.
Right.
But
not even so much in the gameplay. If you're talking about the community, you know, a lot of times, like, not the majority of people, but a decent amount of people, if you have your opinion, and then, you know, you say at some point you're a Brawl player, to like more Melee crowd, they'll be like, oh, you're a Brawl player, it doesn't matter. Like,
Okay.
It doesn't.
I think something.
What is this like? Wait, can I just say, what is this whole thing like? Oh, you're a Brawl player. Like, as far as I know, many of us in this group right here play many of the different games. So, like, why is it that
wait. I actually want to put something in
we
here.
all play all the games?
I had
Yeah,
about a 2-hour-long discussion with Cactar, who's a pretty good friend of mine earlier about this. And at first he was trolling me. He was just shit talking Brawl. But he said after we were joking around for a little bit, he said on a serious note, what the Brawl community really needs to realize is good level Melee players, as much as they might not really like the game or like watching the game, they do still respect us as players, as what we do, and that is true to an extent. Most of the hate I've seen, besides at Shuffle and at Apex during finals, was really just unnecessary. But most of the hate that you see online from people are really like the low-level players that just and Melee is in the spotlight. And I even see a lot of hate from people that I used to see on Brawl streams that used to be Brawl monsters, and they kind of just are fanboys and go with the crowd and what's popular, just like people do in high school, and they shit talk whatever. Well, yeah, Brawl's getting a lot of hate right now. Yeah, let's just jump on it. Let's just join that crowd.
What's really important to realize for Nintendo, for MLG, for all of the Smash community is that there's still like a solid viewership and player base for this game that is unique to this game. Not every Smash player plays Melee. Not every Smash player prioritizes Melee. And to just effectively shit on them by not giving them a spot at MLG for like for whatever reason, and to like not even support overturning that decision, it's honestly pretty immature. And you have to respect and acknowledge the amount of work that these people put in, and you have to acknowledge that they deserve a chance on this main stage. And regardless of how you feel about the game, you could think it's the worst game in the entire universe, but it doesn't matter. Like, if someone puts work into it and there's a fan base for it, if enough people want to see it there, this is the point of it all. We're trying to show MLG and Nintendo that there are enough people in the world that care about this game for it to be a big deal that it's not there. And for it to be a big deal if it were there, as in, viewership numbers, attendance numbers. So right now we just need to, forget about anyone who's hating, honestly, because I feel like you probably won't change their minds by any way other than example. If we're making the game look sick, then they can't talk shit about it. So we just have to have constant content. Something like this is great. Finally, we have our own podcast,
Yeah.
Though I do kind of think this should expand to all the Smash games. But still, we need to have more players streaming. We need to have every tournament streamed. We need to just have more active YouTube channels than Clash tournaments and VG Bootcamp. I feel like we could sit on a stream all day and talk about how the Melee players are big bullies. And I'm not saying that that's all that we've been doing, but like, we need to actually produce content. We need to actually bring a more professional image to the scene.
Yeah.
And
I'm sorry, can I have add a point?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Well, and it's not every Melee player. Like, in my scene, the Melee player...
Oh, no, of course it's not. Of course
not. At least from the local perspective, like, most local players from, the same scenes, Brawl and Melee, they end up respecting each other. It's outside those regions, mostly out of state. Like, Melee players, to name a few, like, Chillin and Red, among others in my region, they respect me, and they respect that I'm good at Brawl. They respect that I'm pretty good at Smash. But
yeah, and Chillin was very good at Brawl for a while too. He didn't prefer the game, but he still acknowledged that, like, if you're good at this game and you put in work, and people care about that, like, there are undeniably viewership numbers on the internet for Brawl. Like, yes, then good for you. Like, you deserve everything. And what honestly irks me the most is that we, as Brawl players, were like, dude, Melee has a shot at Evo. Brawl isn't even being discussed. We're not going to be petty about that at all. We're not like, OMG, Brawl at Evo. We're like, go Melee, good for you. Like, have it all. We gave money, time, etc. Right?
We're not a community that's technically... We are a younger community in terms of most of our players are younger than the Melee community, but we do need to mature in the regards to, we can build our team better. We need to stop getting in the mindset that we're just complaining about things. I mean, it's not just being bad.
I saw somebody say that we were like asking too much like a child by trying to ask Nintendo for Brawl as well as Melee. Like, I mean, come on, dude. It was very obviously in the talks. Like I have like, you know, this is definitely something that MLG wanted to do. They wanted Brawl there.
And I actually really want to make a point. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I was talking to Solid Jake earlier, and he said since MLG was preparing for Brawl to be there, and what Solid Jake told me is he said which most likely it won't be able to make, you know, the actual circuit, since they're doing all the, you know, the grassroots stuff, that he's trying to get at least, you know, a finals of the grassroots tournaments, something like that, to put together for Brawl, which I think is a good idea. But you know, it's still not the same, but at least they're trying. And if they're gonna give some effort, we have to get effort too, and that's what I think this is about too.
Yes, also, we cannot stop as soon as MLG is like, or you know, even like miracle case scenario, if MLG and Nintendo are like, oh yeah, Brawl can be at MLG Anaheim as well. We do not stop there. We do not be like, all right, thanks, and just, you know, stagnate. We honestly, this game has had a long time coming for content production of top quality, and there's really no reason that it hasn't been made. I mean, sure, there's the reason that most of us are young, poor college students, but you know,
that's a pretty legit reason, my man. Everyone is trapped in the struggle.
But there are exceptions, you know. There are content production teams like Last Tournaments, VG
agree
Bootcamp,
with you there, brother.
EMG, even. You know, you guys are making shit happen. So we gotta all make shit happen.
I appreciate that so much. I appreciate that.
This is shit. This is good shit. Esports.
Esports.
Yo, but I wanted to ask you guys something. Like let's be real here, guys. We have Smash 4 looming. It's around the corner. How do you guys feel that Brawl will answer to Smash 4? Are we gonna have just everyone migrating to the next best thing, or are we gonna try and support this still and make it happen? Because I don't know. We're pushing a lot of unity, diversity, and support, but are we really one unit if we just want to move on to the next best thing?
Here's how I feel about that.
It depends.
If Smash 4 is so good that all the Brawl players want to play it, then so be it. Let the game run its course. If everyone stops entering Brawl because Smash 4 is so much better, then cool. But we should not start off with some stupid stigma that, oh my god, Brawl is dead, RIP, before the game even fucking comes out. I excuse my language. Before the game has even been released. People are already saying, oh my god, Brawl's gonna die. But you don't know that. Smash 4 could be completely different. I was actually just talking to Wes about this on the train. Glick and I rode the train back with Wes from the PM tournament today, and he said he thinks the game's gonna be completely different from Brawl, Melee, and 64, because all three of those titles are also drastically different from each other. And I feel hard pressed to disagree, man. Like, Brawl could end up having a unique niche in the community, or just in the lineup as, you know, a pretty good game because of its own unique features. Smash 4 could be awesome,
I agree.
And people could still care about Brawl. We shouldn't, and like, you know, it could be the opposite. Nobody could care about Brawl because Smash 4 could be that amazing. Smash 4 could also be so amazing that Melee players drop their game, which, I mean, I don't see it being likely because there's a lot of, like, hard-earned passion in that game, and there's so many diehards and stuff. But either way, if Smash 4 kills Brawl, then, I mean, honestly, that doesn't really mean too much, as long as there's not a large amount of people being like, yo, like, we want a Brawl scene still, and then people are just like, LOL, move on, what are you, stupid? And, like, the new game is out, like, it's so much better. But if there are, you know, a substantial number of people, I say, yeah, let the game live on, as long as it's worth running.
There's always going to be people
behind. In my opinion.
There's always going to be people behind, there's always going to be people behind the controllers. That's one thing people need to keep in mind as people do play the game. It might be a good idea to start doing things like that, because Melee has done that, and it seems like a good idea to start doing things. Well, I guess we would need someone who's better with like video software and things of that nature. Players behind the controller.
By the way, guys, I believe D-Disciple is joined the call. You there?
What's good? Yeah.
All right, man. I know you wanted to say something. You are obviously opinionated on this as well. What do you have to say about free Smash Bros. Brawl?
Alright. I'm gonna go off from what Max was talking about, saying like how Smash 4 was gonna kill Brawl. Alright, this is merely just history repeating itself. Alright, like when Brawl got announced, y'all remember that, right? Like everyone got hyped about it. What was the number one thing that a lot of people were worried about?
Yeah, this is gonna kill Melee, and
yeah, this was gonna kill Melee. It almost did. There was a drought. Like even before Brawl came out, there was a drought going on because like there was a lot of controversy, lack of like disrespect going on in the Melee scene that we all knew about.
Yep.
Brawl came out. It was a completely fresh new game. Like everyone was enjoying it for the first few months or so, and then like they realized like they don't like the game as much. And the diehard Melee players, they came back and started like creating like the ROMs, the Genesis, and all of that, so they can get their tournament back up and started. But they also realized it still wasn't enough because it still wasn't getting all the numbers in. And then next thing you know, like once Evo, like honestly, I think once Evo hit off, that's where everything started to like go off like wildfire with Melee, because they wanted the hype, they wanted to be in the Evo set. Because let's think about it, when we were on the MLG circuit, like what Sam said, that brought in a lot of hype, that brought in a lot of competition because everyone was throwing out, putting in the work and effort to go to these events, doing everything they can. Like for a while, like everyone thought Anther was the best Pikachu. Then Sam comes out and just starts biting everybody. Yeah, I knew you were like that. But it just showed that a lot of people were still, hey, we're in this scene, we're here, we want to be known, we want to be shown and everything, and we were doing our best. It's gonna be the same exact thing once Smash 4 comes out. And for whatever reasons why MLG didn't want to pick up Brawl, because they probably didn't want to go through all the controversy of all the little bullshit that Nintendo tried to say, like they couldn't get the third-party characters to be okay with it. Because let's think about it. If they didn't do that, then they would have never had the MLG circuit in the first place, because they only wanted it for the commercial. They only saw it because it was a cash cow at the time, because Melee was dying, Brawl was the new thing that came out. So let's get the whole MLG circuit with the 12K or whatever on GNS1. But now they realize that, hey, Melee is the new hot scene again, even though this game is like 12 years old and everything. So you might as well just go with, hey, let's just get Melee going. They wanted that Evo. Why don't we just put it in MLG? We don't really care about Brawl because Smash 4 is going to be coming out anytime soon, and that's what we're going to be focused on after that. If they really wanted to Brawl, if they still care about Brawl or anything about the Wii, they would not be shutting down the Wii Wi-Fi settings, because that kills Mario Kart and other things as well. They want people to focus on the newer generations of the Wii U. That's why I feel like they didn't want Brawl in the MLG circuit. Melee doesn't have the online features that a Wii does, but we found ways to do that. We'll find other ways to get the practice going in. And honestly, I'm going to go with Zero's reason for why he quit, or saying he's not going to practice Brawl as much. He has 2 months left to play on Wi-Fi. Once the Wi-Fi goes, who is he going to play with in Chile? Who is he going to get all the...
Well, he's in America for a long time.
He's in America for a long time now?
Yeah.
Well, when
Zero
he goes
actually,
back, it's going to happen.
Zero made a post changing his views after, I think he was listening to this and kind of realized he was being an idiot. So
yeah, I was going to go to that too. Like
what you said about Nintendo wanting to focus on the new generation, that's actually why it blows me away that they have Melee and not Brawl at MLG, because Brawl is the newer game. I think by streaming Melee and not Brawl, you're almost sending the message like, hey, the newer game in this series kind of sucked, so we don't even have it at MLG here, and Nintendo's not even backing it. So what makes you have any more faith that the one after that is going to be any good? You know, like if they messed up Brawl, what's stopping them from messing up Smash 4? I feel like is the mindset that some people, could develop after seeing one game and not the other.
All
but obviously,
they do is put Ridley in Smash 4.
Right. But also, if Nintendo deliberately wanted to make Brawl less competitive than Melee because they didn't want the series to be associated with high levels of competition and like high execution barriers, then why would they have Melee and not Brawl again? But either way, regardless of what it is, whether it's Snake or Sonic or like they want to focus on the new generation and they don't want to advertise a Wii game right before they cut the Wi-Fi, whatever it is, like the point is that they're overlooking the fact that Brawl has a significant enough scene for it to make a real difference.
It's also like it's super not hypocritical, but it doesn't make sense
It's
in
like
a different way,
the
because like the
logic
post
is-
that Nintendo made. The post Nintendo made, it was like, oh yeah, I'm so happy that like 13 years later there's a Melee champion, and you know this and that are being crowned, and so we're gonna focus on the new one. It's like, but for 6 years Brawl's been doing it too. Like, where'd that come from? Like, where did that go? Where, like, they pretty much just dismissed our entire scene.
I mean, to be fair, it is PR spin and stuff, so, like, you know, you're not gonna expect Nintendo to praise the entire Smash series and all of that when they're just trying to comment as least as possible on competitive Melee.
Can I add one point that
Yeah,
I feel
XX, you say one more thing, and we're gonna have to drop some people in the call so I can add Joe back in. So XX, I want you to finish up here, and then I'm gonna drop some of you guys.
You can drop me, because I'm going to be going to sleep.
Don't drop me, I love you.
Okay, so XX,
Don't drop me.
Alright, well, this is what I really want to say. I made a tweet about this earlier. I feel like, you know, Melee's getting all this rep because they really did put in the work. And I feel like Brawl really hasn't put in that work. So, at the end of the day, we really cannot get mad. But this should, if anything good can come from this, we can realize, you know, we didn't put in the necessary work. And this is the turning point now that, you know what, we haven't been as professional as we could have been. We haven't made the right steps that we could have been. Well, you know what, we can look at the past and we can maybe, you know, change the future and go in the right direction. And if it doesn't really work for, you know, the rest of Brawl's life, you know, Smash 4, it's a fresh start. We can start off as strong as possible. And you know, if we can get it going for Brawl, and by some miracle, or if everybody can, you know, have a change of heart and kind of see that this is the right move, then we can make something big happen. But I feel like now, even if, you know, MLG doesn't pick us up, Nintendo doesn't give us the right support, we should at least move in the right direction, and this is what this should be all about. And that's how I really feel.
Just to clear things up, I'm not upset that MLG couldn't pick us up because this was not their fault. I'm just saying, like I was describing, that Nintendo's logic is still backwards.
Yeah.
It's totally backwards for bringing in Melee and not both. That's all.
I mean, and ultimately it could just be a money thing, and whoever ended up saying it just before that, yeah, maybe they just wanted to focus on the new entry of Smash, you know, why, but then I guess that is, yeah, that's admitting that Brawl wasn't as good, but to be honest though, considering MLG is picking up StarCraft again, which they haven't done in a while, you know, it really could just be MLG was probably, yeah, hype, by the way. I think honestly it probably could have been that MLG may or may not have been able to get Brawl, but the fact that they got Melee was probably enough business-wise. And you know, maybe they didn't want to take a risk on Brawl. I don't know. You know, I don't see why they wouldn't. Apex got great you know, a lot of entrants for Brawl, so I don't know. All right, I'm gonna drop some of you guys from the call. I apologize, but I gotta do it. So
I'm gonna be dropping.
Keep me in. Keep me in for the long.
Joe, you're gonna probably be kicked. I think everyone except Max is gonna be kicked, to be honest.
Well, Dakota, let me just say goodbye to the chat real quick before I go.
Okay,
right,
Joe,
so,
give me it. Go.
Alright, so thanks for joining us. I'm going to be going to sleep right now. Make sure to follow me at Sequel1230. I'm trying to promote my scene, especially Brawl, and my scene may be dying in Brawl, but I am going to try to start reviving it, and that's a huge goal of mine. We'll see. Make sure to be continue following the stream. Alright, bye-bye, guys.
Peace, man. Alright, so Joe's out. Who's next? Someone talk. Who's next? Who's next?
Alright, I'll go.
Oh.
Alright, thanks for. Alright,
yeah,
thanks for.
right.
Am I good?
Yep.
Alright. Alright, thanks for having me on, just for like my little say in. I kind of wanted to say a little bit more, but y'all, you can follow me at _disciple on Twitter. I won't be having my stream up yet. I'm still getting like all the parts for my new computer to get it all fully built. But once I do that, you can I'll let you guys know about the Twitch channel. But for now, just follow me at _disciple and clear path, because I'll see you guys. I'll see you guys at Skatar 2.
All right, the path is cleared.
3, by the way. Skatar 3.
All right. I'm.
That means we're all good, right?
Joe. No wait. I'm re-adding T.O. Joe. Where are you?
Tojo. Sorry, T.O. Joe. I keep.
All right. So you are. All right. Who else? All right. Esam, I'm about to cut you from the call as well. Thank you for joining us, Esam. What do you got to say last as you?
Wait. Let me do my last thing.
All right. Do it.
Let me do my send off or whatever the hell like they've been doing. It's been a pleasure talking to the stream. Follow me at Samaricus on Twitter. Yeah, Smash as a whole is pretty good. Don't worry about promoting one scene or the other. Obviously, the point of this is for Brawl specifically, but if you cannot promote Brawl, promote Smash in general because it's all good for Smash 4. Deuces.
All right, peace, man. All right, let's see if we can get Joe back in here. Oh, did we lose Joe? Yeah, let's call Joe back. All right. XX, looks like we're going to have to let you go as well. Any last thoughts?
All right. Follow me on Twitter at CT_exex. And I just want to say, let's move in the right direction. And I just hope everybody can continue to support and not get down by, what's happened in the past few days. And I just want, Brawl to keep thriving and not die. So do everything you can and keep supporting all Smash games. And
word up. Amen to that.
I'll see you guys at Collision
Word
and
up.
at K-Tar and at everything else. So
All
I'm a
right.
monster.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time, all right?
Yeah.
All right, peace. All right, Joe and Max, you guys here?
Yo, I'm back. I'm here.
And Max, you here? Okay, Max is probably here. Hopefully he is. All right, guys, so we'll be continuing on with the show here. First off, I want to thank all the guests that joined us. I appreciate it. Unfortunately, Skype was getting a little too crazy. We had a little too many people in the call. We lost Joe, so unfortunately...
Someone just made a Reddit post, too, if we could upvote that. I'm gonna link it right now.
Word. I appreciate all you guys for coming on. I apologize to D-Disciple. We may not have gotten as much time to talk. We'll be doing more episodes, so you guys will obviously be welcome on in the future. However, we would like to get another guest on, actually, I believe.
The Crimson Blur?
Crimson Blur?
Yes, good.
All right, so,
shout out to Mark.
I was going to go,
what's
but
his
I
Skype?
definitely wanted to stay for this.
What's his Skype? So I can add
I put it in the Skype chat. I can send it to you again.
I got it. Yep, I got it.
Alright, you got it.
All right.
I saw Crimson. Don't worry, buddy. I got you, homie.
All right.
I definitely got you.
I'll be sending him a request. Add contacts. There we go. Blah, blah, blah. Apologize to the stream. I know it looks a little jank right now because I've been screwing around with the calls. I'll fix it in a secondo once the Crimson Blur adds up. And again, I just want to thank our Brawl, all of our friends who we've known from Brawl, but play all the games, for joining us and giving us their opinions on it. But we now got... Oh, wait, I haven't... Hold on, I don't want to be too preemptive.
One second, Dakota.
Okay.
But before we add Crimson in,
Okay.
I think we should get the chat involved, too, because we haven't really been asking any of the Warriors in the chat if they want to talk about anything. Haven't really been interacting.
Yeah.
on
Stream
Twitter,
Warriors,
so-
let us know your thoughts.
All right, Stream Warriors, throw
let
us
know
some
your
thoughts.
What do you guys want to talk about? Where do you want to move this conversation?
What do you want to hear from Crimson?
Yeah, dude, Crimson's about to come on. Shout out to Mark.
All right, yeah, let's get Crimson on in here. See if I can find him on my little namey thing here. All right, add to call. All right, all good. Now I'm gonna make the stream look less jank for all you guys. And I believe Crimson is here, if I am correct.
Sup with it? How you guys doing?
Hey, how's it
Yo,
going,
what's
man?
up, man?
How's it going, homie?
Oh, it's going well. I'm just chilling right now. I only heard a bit, probably the last like 5 minutes of the previous call, so maybe I'm a little bit off track here. But I'd like to talk about where you guys can go and what you guys can do as a community, because I think seeing where Melee has gone and being a big part of the process of our growth in the last few years, I think you guys can learn a lot from it. And I think that maybe the conversation that I heard was not as productive as I'd hoped, and I don't think. I think there's a lot of misconceptions going around, especially. First and foremost, I think that yes, there is one of the main topics of conversation I heard was the whole melee versus brawl BS. Yes, there is still that, and the animosity is there, and I'm not going to deny it. And people have their own opinions about the game, but among the people, the decision makers, I don't think it makes any reasonable difference. So like, who are the decision makers in the Smash community, right? There's, let's say, Joe Guy makes a lot of decisions. Bobby Scar makes a lot of decisions. Prog makes a lot of decisions. Calvin makes a lot of decisions. Chibo makes a lot of decisions. D1 makes a lot of decisions. You know, like, think about those type of people. Those people really are not biased one way or the other. They're all one unit, you know? And
yes, I very much agree.
If you think among the leaders, the people who actually matter, like people who actually make decisions, that this whole thing doesn't really actually matter. So you got to kind of stay focused with it. For example, I host a lot of West Coast events for Smash in general, right? So when SSS was opened up to us in Super Arcade, that's like the best venue you can get. You have a stream that has, millions and millions of views. Like they're one of the biggest Twitch channels, period, right?
So much
it's a huge,
behind that arcade.
a huge arcade, like all this opportunity behind it, right? One of the first things I did, right, is I went out to the Brawl community, and this is a Melee player, me, right? I went out to the Brawl community, I was like, hey guys, here's SSS, here's a good chance for you guys. And I'm going to be completely honest, it was a flop. It was the biggest flop that you can ever ask. And you compare that to what the Project M community did in that same time, a new community with like completely new TOs, and they've brought more attendance, and they've been pretty disorganized still comparative to the Melee scene, but much more so than what we saw from the Brawl guys. And honestly had nothing to do with Brawl as a game that we ended up dropping it from SSS, for example. It had very much to do with the organization and the turnout that we got, And so it's one thing to say it's prejudice and all that stuff, but it's mostly like, dude, if you don't go to the events, and if they're not well organized, and if the streaming quality and the quality of content that you're providing isn't good, then you're not going to grow as a community. That's really what it comes down to. And I think that it's a lot of people are treating it almost like like it's bound to happen at this point, with Smash 4 coming out. I don't think it has to. I think if the leaders within the Brawl community step up, it'll be fine.
Yeah, I very much agree with you. And when I joined this call, it was talking about, stupid like Melee versus Brawl things. And immediately I'm like, wait, hold on. I agree. That's not what I wanted to hear from this call. I regrettably joined it late. But yeah, it is very much about, tournament organization, the actual people who have power to make decisions like this stepping up. And I mean, I don't really know the West Coast, SoCal, TOing community too well, who TOs down there. But if we had a venue like that in New York, I know for a fact that we would capitalize on that. I just came back from a new PM weekly series that we have, and unfortunately the venue's very, very small. It's kind of like the curse of our region. But yeah, I agree. We need to actually do things. We need to actually have consistent tournaments. I mean, Sunday weeklies, it's brilliant. And I feel like people are just making Johns as to why they can't go. Oh, it's a Sunday. It's not, it's not Saturday. We only want to go to tournaments on Saturdays. I mean, you have to extend past that, and you have to also, like you're saying, stop internalizing like some supposedly inevitable death of this game. And I feel like a big problem of this community is that they did internalize all the original Melee versus Brawl trash talk, as in like, this. You know what? You guys are right. This game is kind of crappy, but we're just going to deal with it and play it anyway. And over the years, it evolved past that. It evolved out of that stage, and people really did embrace the game. And now, that Melee is back in the spotlight. Obviously, there are some newer faces, and just the oversaturation of people trying to adapt community memes for the sake of sounding cool and informed. Oh, Brawl's terrible, even though we've been to -1 Melee tournaments. We can speak on this. So I feel like any sort of like Melee vs. Brawl trash talk, you're very right, is isolated in. Or at least it's isolated from the influential people. D1, Prog, Chibo, Calvin, everyone who is notable in Melee is one unit. I agree with that. So yeah, we should not have this player debate, and we should really focus on actually mobilizing and doing things that are significant.
Yeah, when we started at the beginning of the chat, when it was just me, Dakota, and Exax, that was exactly what we talked about the Brawl community not making themselves heard across social media, not creating content, not actually doing things productive towards the game. I feel like you're right. A lot of people do blame the stream warriors, the stuff that they say, the trolls that hate on Brawl, and they think that's where Brawl's failures are attributed to. But a lot of it has to do with top players and even content contributors stepping up, because Melee has grown not just because of the caliber of their players, but also because of just how hard they work. Like, I have never seen a gaming community like Melee right now. Everyone is coming together, everyone is working on something, everyone's producing something.
Yep.
But Brawl is sort of just left in limbo sometimes. Sure, we have Clash tournaments, and Clash tournaments does represent Brawl, but that's just one region. Where are the other regions stepping up? And like Crimson said, they had an amazing opportunity at Super Arcade. That has so much history in the FGC. Like, Mike Watson is a legend in Street Fighter. That dude is up there. Alex Faye, a legend in Street Fighter. And they were willing to give Smash a chance. And I don't think a lot of Brawl players recognize the opportunity they had. When I heard that announcement, I instantly knew it was huge. But what can I do? I'm just a dude in Canada. I can't get all the way out to Cali. That's why it's not just one person. It's not just two people. It's the whole community that needs to mobilize together, like we see in Melee. And it does start with the leader. You're absolutely right. We need to be promoting a more positive, more productive, conducive atmosphere for the community, because this is just the beginning. I mean, our game got dropped from MLG, and within 24 hours we assembled this. It's not much, but it's a start. And I think that's what's important right now, just getting something together, because we got to mobilize the troops. Whether or not we succeed or fail with this free Brawl at MLG, that's really irrelevant at this point. We have to tackle a larger community issue that has to deal with how we choose to promote our scene and moving forward what we're going to do with this. So this sort of leaves the floor open to all of us right now. What can Smash, and specifically the Brawl community, do moving forward to grow and help promote its image?
Right, and we've definitely proven ourselves capable of surviving without the aid of MLG. You know, we did have one falling out with them already, and, you know, while it would have been great to continue those days, the Brawl community did survive, and even thrived. You know, we got international competition a year and a couple months after the MLG finals. You know, everyone's like, oh, Brawl's dead. Bam, Apex 2012 comes out of the woodwork with Otori and Nietono. Everyone just, you know, all of a sudden, game sees a brief revival. Right, and it did carry over into 2013, and even 2014 was a pretty decent, you know, Apex Brawl event. But you know, what we do need to do moving forward is just have more consistent events, more frequency of events, more frequency of content production. We need to have people, you know, going into depth about matches. I think match analysis and replays and stuff, that's perfect for people who are interested in other things besides gameplay, like commentary and video editing. You know, it's perfect. There are so many other roles in the community besides just attend tournament, enter bracket, you know, win money or don't. You can do so much more. And social media, another thing that Melee is really kicking our asses in right now, and just like the world in general is kind of kicking the Brawl's community's ass in terms of using things like Twitter and even Reddit. The Smash Bros. Reddit is infested with Melee and Project M talk. We don't see any Brawl players there. There's no discussion of Brawl. There's no content of Brawl being posted. And honestly, is it because the community doesn't enjoy or care about the game as much, or just because we're kind of, you know, we're not putting in the work?
I think there's a very important aspect about it, especially in that first I'll say this, while I did gloss over the image problem. The image problem is real. It's a bad thing when the most accomplished player in your history, Mewtwo King, goes on streams and says he hates the game's awful, all that. You know, that's not going to be good for your scene ever. And that is there. But I think the baseline troll comments always get overlooked if you produce quality content, right? So the way to fix your image problem is almost recursive. You know, once you bring the content in, it'll be over. I'll say even in Melee circles, and this is like, I go to like Melee events every weekend, right? And maybe more 2-3 times a week I go to a Melee event. When Salem versus when Apex 2013 Grand Finals happened, you know, and Salem's whole run in general, people in Melee were talking about it all the time. You know, that was a thing. You know, and that was happening. And
that can happen more often if more of it happened. And the reason why I think it doesn't happen as often is that there's just not as many Brawl players in leadership positions in the Smash community. And it's been like that because the big OGs in the Smash community are the Melee heads. If you look at who are the TOs in the Smash world, literally all of them are old Melee heads, with the exception of Keitaro, who's been stepping it up, right? Strife is a big deal, but pretty much that whole Apex crew are old Melee heads. Christmas, D1, like the entire crew is old Melee heads. And so if there was more Brawl people in leadership positions and more people the Melee guys can turn to for advice on Brawl, like for example, me in SoCal, right? I've been running Smash in SoCal for years now, and I still don't know who to turn to for Brawl. Like I normally would turn to Mike Hayes, but Mike is done with that game right now. He's been playing Melee, and like pretty much like a lot of the old Brawl people are now playing PM. If I wanted to host Brawl at like a major national SoCal, I don't even know who I'd talk to about it. I don't know who would run it. So if that doesn't happen, like there's nowhere I can go. And you can't use the resources a one unit provides if that leadership isn't there. And that's what needs to happen, like baseline. Baseline. You can't have any of this stuff when you don't have that.
So true. Honestly, that was the real talk that we've gotten throughout this entire discussion. I mean, if we're going to call out top players, we need to also call out leaders in the community. Brawl is still trying to find its face. Brawl is still trying to find its voice. And people need to lend a hand and show support to the people that are putting in the work, because I'm not going to give shout-outs to anyone, because the people that are putting in the work, they will eventually appear in the Brawl community. But I can say that there are people working hard, and there are people that care a lot. It's just, it hasn't been as focused as it needs to be, and no one's been stepping it up to the level that has been needed to get to that level. And I think Crimson brings up a great point. I mean, California, one of the strongest gaming scenes just in general, that's pretty sad that he doesn't even have someone to turn to in Brawl to host a major tournament for him. I mean, I'm going to be honest, I've complained about the fact that FGC events only seem to be featuring Melee, but it's seeming more and more that it has less to do with the game itself and more to do with the people in the community. They need people to step up and take that active role if they want to get things going. And you know what? Just recently, I've been starting to really get my things with Even Matchup Gaming, the Get On My Level tournament series, which has gotten 130 people confirmed in under a week. So shout-outs to all the attendance to that. But there needs to be more people across the board. Melee, yeah, it has its couple faces, but it also has a solid core group of people that you can count on your fingers, hands, and toes that just put in so much work for this community. And Brawl doesn't have the same people living up to that. Melee laid down the blueprint for us. They showed us what you can do when your community is dying and when it's on its last breath, and how you can revitalize it. Brawl just needs to follow that and increase it with their own Brawl unique spin. And that's how I feel about it. How do you guys feel about it?
I'm going to be super, super honest here, and I think this would have been super cool 5-6 years ago when the game first came out. This is something that I think as Smashers should have really happened years ago, and this push for content, this push for people to do things, because Prog was right on Twitter. We just waited around for MLG to announce Brawl, because we thought, oh yeah, MLG's not. Why would they not announce Brawl alongside Melee? And we sort of just lackadaisically didn't do anything about it. So I mean, I'm all about the we gotta step up, but it's been 6 years, and I really want to know how serious people are actually about it. How are people actually about playing Brawl and keeping it going, which it should, because the game's still here. The game had a great drawing at Apex. The game continues to show up in many different regions, and top players are still playing the game. But I just when it's been 6 years and we're still looking for community leaders, maybe something has to change integrally in the community instead of instead of people just filling out applications to be the next person in the spotlight. And again, this also again brings me back to Smash 4. We don't want the same situation to have in Smash 4. I'm one of those people who probably will play Brawl after Smash 4, but I'm also looking forward to it, and I want it not to go 6 years before it gets good content. So I think people really need to think about the seriousness of what Crimson and Joe are saying here. That it's not all right. Well, we'll just wait around until someone else does it. No, any video you put up will help. Anything you do, highlighting something, because that will likely inspire somebody else to do something good. But if people see this empty wasteland of no Brawl content, they're not going to throw something out there. It's going to be just as wasteful. We need a lot of people coming together and doing this. And, if anyone is out there and you think, oh, I can't do anything, whatever, you can, and you don't have. I don't want to make it seem like you have to be a community leader to do something here. I want to get rid of that notion right now. Is that you don't have to be a community leader to do anything. You can be whoever you want. You can be as involved as you want to be, but you have to have a presence. You have to have something. It doesn't matter if you're a commentator or a TO or someone who's been in the game for the entirety of the 6 years, or someone who's been playing since Melee. You just gotta make something, just contribute somehow, because as Crimson said earlier, that kind of stuff is recursive and it'll come back to you in a positive way. I don't know. It seems to me we gotta make it. Let's not bar people like, oh, you gotta be. Let's be a community leader first. Like, no, make the content and you'll go from there, because you'll learn more about the community by making the content.
Yep. I really, in particular, agree with that point. Mostly because, like I said, the content will bring back onto itself, and if especially think about this thing, this idea that if you look at Brawl's top players right now. Zero is a guy he's probably the face of the community at this point. Mewtwo is known, Ally is known, etc., etc. But how many of them actually stream and produce weekly content? Zero does. I know he does. And he does a good job with that. But the rest of them, you don't really see it often. And if that's not happening within the community, and the tournaments are so intermittent from each other, so far away from each other. I mean, at this point, we're not getting a big Brawl tournament, a real 100-plus Brawl tournament. They're usually separated by months, not by weeks, So if that's not happening, then where's the Twitch presence? Who's watching the game? If no one's watching the game, though, how do you expect the community to grow? If no one's producing any content, there's nothing's going to happen. And when you see the top players not contributing and the leaders not stepping up, I don't know what exactly is to be expected. I think MLG would have been a really good thing for the Brawl community, but honestly, even if it had happened, I'm not sure if Brawl would have been ready for MLG, not the other way around.
I think I actually do kind of agree with that. I don't know what we really would have made of it, because we've still stayed at this point where we're kind of stagnant and nobody has been enthusiastic about mobilizing the community. Do you think people would actually be like, oh, hype, now we're going to go travel, we're going to go to Anaheim, awesome, Brawl's going to be there? Or is it just going to be like, oh, okay, yeah, they're both there,
that's how people
awesome.
Are making it seem. They're like, oh, if MLG had picked up Brawl, I'd still
right,
be playing.
Exactly.
That's how they're making it seem.
It's really easy to say that in
exactly,
retrospect,
of
course.
That's some BS right there.
Should there be a game on the MLG circuit? Should there be a game on the MLG circuit where if you go online, you're pretty much just going to find, only stream videos and not anything enriching, really? There's, like Crimson said, there's no daily or weekly content. And, I mean, some of that does have to do with the resources of the players, but that's no excuse. Mewtwo King, he's told me he wants to, or he plans to start streaming weekly in New York with Empire. And that's awesome, but that's one person. And then Zero, that's two people. There needs to be something that is not just your run-of-the-mill Saturday tournament video upload batch going on YouTube for Super Smash Bros. Brawl. I mean, it cannot be that limited. I'm actually setting up a stream right now with Glick. We're going to play some Project M and Brawl, so definitely going to be sharing the link to that. But, I mean, it has a lot to do with knowing how to network yourself, knowing how to make your content exciting, not just you sitting in your room chain grabbing somebody all day, hey, stream, what's up? People have also just, like I said before, internalized this notion that Brawl is unwatchable or not hype. But if you take a second, try to break from the mold, try to make it awesome. And if you do try it and it's from the heart, the game is not bad. Let's be honest. It is not a bad game intrinsically. And you can sell anything. You could sell ice to a polar bear if you wanted to. So there is really a huge burden on the people involved to do something. And I know, I am someone who wants to be in a leadership position in this community, and I can also fault myself. I do not have any recording gear at all. That's totally my fault. I definitely have had money in the past to spend on it. Right now I'm kind of broke, otherwise I would be ordering one on Amazon right now. Regardless though, I mean, why am I as a commentator not casting like sessions in my house or something. I can have people over whenever. I am trying to make moves in the world of tournament organizing. I've got venue arrangements that I'm setting up. Hopefully everything should be pulled together by the end of the month. Shameless plug. But yeah, I very much agree. We need content that's not just ripping it from Twitch and putting it on YouTube, because there is a lot more to this game than just the very, very little that comes out.
I mean, I'm going to give you the perspective of myself as a Canadian smasher from a much smaller market. I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. I interview players and I compete at tournaments at the same time. I'm constantly editing videos. I'm constantly making content for the community, but I'm from a smaller market where I don't get the same kind of love. And is it on me to help grow that market? Of course. But there are players in massive markets that aren't taking the opportunities that they have. Max, when I move to the US this summer, you better believe I'm going to make you stream at your house every day, dude. Dakota, you better believe I'm going to be visiting you and we're going to be making Brawl content. I mean, this isn't something where we need to wait on someone to make it happen. Dakota, yeah, Max,
I agree.
Ryan, myself, we've all been putting in the work, but we just haven't mobilized and centralized together. We haven't decided, yo, let's bring this all into one group. Let's make it in one place where people can find it. Let's take this really seriously and pump it out. In the next week, I will be releasing 5 videos that I conducted and edited myself at Apex. And I'm not tooting my own horn. I'm not saying this like I'm some amazing dude, like I'm the Mother Teresa of Smash. No, far from it. But what I am saying is I've recognized the need for Brawl players to step it up. But I'm from Canada, dude. In order for me to come to these tournaments where all the hype is, I got to take a 12-hour bus ride there and back. I can only do as much as I can. But in the next week, you will be seeing unique content. And I have interviewed Brawl players, Mr. R specifically. And that dude is one of the coolest down-to-earth men you will ever meet. And
Absolutely
Max can attest for me on that. Mr. R is the truth. He is the embodiment of what Brawl needs to be. He's entertaining, humble, but he's also down-to-earth. And I hope that my interview series gets that across, because that's all I want from the challenger approaching. I want people to see the personal side of Smashers. Okay. Whether you play Melee, Project M, Brawl, whether you play Brawl Plus, I don't care. If you have passion, if you're dedicated, if you have heart, that's the story I want to tell. And that's what I've been trying to do with Even Match Gaming. I mean, we've been streaming every week on Mondays and Thursdays. We might only get 30, 40 viewers max, but you know what? It's still something to me. It still means something to me. And I feel like when people say that people in the community aren't stepping up, you also need to give people that platform to improve their game. I mean, I can only do so much. I can only ask for so many retweets. The community needs to support more, man. I mean, Even Matchup Gaming has been around for almost 6 months now. We've been putting out content that no one else has been doing. And I'm going to keep doing that. I'm going to keep grinding. It's not about numbers. And I think a lot of people think that that's what it comes down to. It's not about the numbers in your stream. It's about the heart you have. And Brawl needs to show how much heart it has right now, because it's being tested. It's a matter of how bad do we want this, and are we willing to go after it? I've talked to Dakota.
And I think we all have a personal stake in this matter. We are all people who have bothered coming out. Like, I don't want to hear it from people saying, oh, I don't care about Brawl, whatever, when I've seen you at a tournament 2 weeks ago. Like, if you're there, if you're entering, even if you're paying venue fee, even if you're paying the gas money to somebody to pick you up and drive you there, you care about this game. You actually have a stake in it, and you know your friends do. Like, I think it's even rude just to the people who are, like, you know, friends or even acquaintances of players across communities to, like, say that this isn't an issue they care about, or that, you know, they don't care about the future of a particular game. You know, like, even, like, I feel this is even mostly Brawl players towards themselves. Like, oh yeah, well, we could do all this content stuff, but what does it matter, you know? Like, that is literally, you are causing your own problems, and you're causing problems for people involved with you that have, like, you know, you definitely have a stake in this. Like, let's be real, all of us. If you're even watching the stream, you care enough for this game to succeed.
I want to answer this real quick. Runic in the chat, who's talking about the importance of spectators. I remember sitting on the losers bracket. If any of you guys were around when Smash was on MLG back for Brawl in 2010 and hated VVV Gaming like a lot of people did, they had a podcast back then, and they had the same issue when esports was getting big in the United States, because StarCraft 2 was bigger outside of, you know, Korea than Brood War, or more than Brood War was. The issue of getting spectators, and spectators are the lifeblood of esports. Do not get don't get it twisted. It's the lifeblood. because that's who the sponsors care about. That's where the money goes. So spectators are very important in terms of getting the scene, Smash overall. This isn't a Brawl thing, but I just want to comment on that spectators are extremely important. And when Smash grows, you're gonna know how important that is, because the esports industry battled with the issue of getting spectators for from 2009 2010 till now, and esports has grown a lot, and you can see how much that is. That's because they pushed for a better spectator experience. So I think the spectator issue is one that the Smashers are going to address eventually when a Smash grows to that level, and Melee I think is on the event horizon of that actually. And Smash is naturally a spectator sport, in my opinion. Crimson, I want to get your input again here. We're talking all about this very heartfelt stuff, but I mean, can you give any advice for anyone who actually wants to take our advice to heart?
Yeah, I could a lot actually, because I don't know if you guys know my history, but I actually used to play this game called Guild Wars really competitively, like high level, and so I watched that game die personally, and I've also been a part of the Melee community as that game went into its resurgence. So I kind of know how both feelings feel, and especially I know that glistening in someone's eye when they truly miss a game, because I go through that myself. Like I think sometimes, man, I wish I could play Guild Wars right now. If anyone still played that game, I would be so down right now. And that's exactly what I see. Like sometimes I talk to Mike Hazel. He's a good friend of mine, and he still says, I miss high-level Brawl. Like, I miss Brawl sometimes. He just doesn't play it anymore because the infrastructure might not necessarily be there anymore, right? And, I know that feeling, and I don't want anyone to go through that feeling, because I know there are a lot of people who are passionate about this game, who have great memories with this game, and, are really just homies with each other. They have so much invested into the game that if it gets smaller and smaller, it's going to be looked at, as in they can't play anymore because of that reason. And the wonderful thing is, because you guys have a 6-year history, you guys can tap into that more than any other community. Like, the older your game is, the more room you have to get returning players. If you look at Melee right now, we've got, Ken back, Chudat's back, you see Korean DJ playing a lot more, but those are just on the top. If you look at even like the mid-level or like the higher upper level, like guys like Kira came back, Connor came back, MacD was retired. All these players, all the old Melee vets came back, because the infrastructure became better. I've always said that if your events are good, more people are going to come. And this is like a very fundamental concept that people have missed over time. The better your events get, the more likely people are going to play. More likely people are going to come out, right? If you have to just look at it objectively, is your tournament just a room? Is it like are you having a tournament where it's literally just a big space where you had tables and chairs and like small TVs?
Right. Is it a tournament or a birthday party?
Yeah, like what are you going for here? And like when I thought of like the Kings of Cali concept, I was like, okay, we're gonna have Melee in a bar. That's something new. We're gonna have catering. We're gonna have a high end stream. We're gonna have like a different atmosphere than we've ever seen with Melee. I tried to bring something new to the table. With SSS, I was like, okay, we have an arcade atmosphere with another a different type of stream, integrating the community with another community. Like, these are the thoughts that were going through my head. And I feel like if you innovate with what you bring, and if you look for something that's more than just a room, you could find a room anywhere. Any venue will get you that. That alone will step the game up. Step the game up to the next level, dude.
That is the realest talk, it reigns something that I've said before. Okay, I've been saying that we shouldn't be using the word TO for the longest time, and part of it is because my name's TO Joe, but that's another story. Organizers shouldn't be trying to host tournaments. They should be trying to host events. The community is more than just the tournaments we host. It's the atmosphere we bring in. And I think Crimson is touching upon an amazing, amazing leverage tool that these in-person meetups offer. It's this experience of playing Smash. It's not being in a tournament. It's being with people with like-minded passions, like-minded views and goals, people that just want to have fun through this game. And I definitely agree with you. Some tournaments, and you know what? If we're going to be calling people out, because we have been saying names, I call out SKTAR. SKTAR, it's hosted in a church basement, and it's huge. But it doesn't create an atmosphere where it's like, yo, I feel like I'm going to something next level.
Yeah, I completely agree with that.
Really,
yes.
The reason why I go to
especially that
SKTAR,
tournament in particular.
Yeah, really, the reason I go to SKTAR is because honestly, I love seeing my homies. I love visiting the East Coast. But Keitaro faltered at Apex. RJ faltered at Apex. If we're going to give the real talk, those people that we consider our leaders, they're not bringing us in the right direction, and they haven't been for a while. But they're stepping their shit up, and I give them mad respect. But if we're talking about tournament atmospheres, it's more than just hosting tables, chairs, and TVs, and just getting a stream in there.
I agree. And I'm going to say one more thing before I go and actually produce some content, because we have our stream set up right now.
Max, you are my man. You are my man. Like,
yes. What I would like to say is that I very much agree with what Crimson said about two things, and that's one, event atmosphere, and two, integration of communities. I think it is so important that, yes, it can't just be tables, chairs, and TVs. Right now, the venue that I'm working on, we are trying to have a raised platform stage, going to shut all the TVs off during finals, that kind of thing. It is very, very important to you know, capitalize on like the uniqueness of what a Smash tournament brings in the first place. It's like, you know, should we just treat Grand Finals like just another match? I heard somebody refer to Brawl Grand Finals as, oh, it's just another Brawl match to the Melee players. But should any finals match of anything just be another match? You know, we gotta create some hype around things like that. Also, like, just like, you know, the finals of any local tournament, turn off all the other TVs, pay the respects to the players. It creates a different atmosphere too than just a bunch of people like casually playing. And also the cross-pollination between communities. I've been hosting alongside Jay Rosa from the fighting game community. We're hosting through like the same partner who is the one working with us to get this venue. And, you know, we intend to mix FGC and Smash events on the same day, even on separate days, just having the same venue. You know, there's going to be a lot of cross-advertisement and stuff. So I agree. It's a super important point, and definitely something I intend to and have been working on exploiting. But yeah, guys, with that, I mean, this call has been great. It's been constructive for sure. I've definitely learned a lot. I think Crimson's input was honestly brilliant, and we'll definitely be in touch, dude.
Thank you so much for coming on. That was hype.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Well, one point I'd like to make though is that I think it was Joe who said that, you know, a lot of times, you know, the community's got to support back, right? And I think I've noticed, this is something my mother has always told me. She said that if you work hard, everything just seems to work out. If you just do it, you know, if you just put in the effort, everything somehow seems to like pay itself forward in its own way, its own crazy way. And I wouldn't be here today if I hadn't seen some even matchup gaming videos. Like, I think there was like a Juggle Guy interview that I like retweeted out like a while ago or something, and I became familiar with Joe's channel and his work, and I was like, wow, this guy's amazing, and how much work he's doing for the Brawl community. And then like I saw this on my like feed about the state of Brawl, so I came here, you know, and you see more people getting into this. Like, you guys have 100 now, but 100 is not that bad. Melee on me like gets like 400 on a lot of its, you know, cast. You guys can make this bigger, you know, like you can make anything bigger. If you guys just keep up the good work, like, it'll come back. I guarantee it'll come back. And that's the thing, though. You know, it's got to be done. It's got to be done by more than you guys. It's got to be done by, you know, a widespread thing. It's got to happen through the top players too.
Yes.
They got to get their acts together. You know, they got to be real contributors to the scene. And, you know, then you can build it right where it should be. You know. Brawl's a new Smash game. That itself has like a lot of appeal.
We're all Smash games. We should be supporting all the Smash games because we're all Smash brothers and sisters. That's what it's about.
I mean, like, first off, Crimson, thank you so much for the shout out. Fucking that means so much. But I think the main thing to take away here is we're not defined by one tournament. We're not defined by one person. We're defined by what puts into this community. Because what you put in is what you get back. So if we just keep keep showing our hard work and dedication, man, it doesn't matter if MLG, if EVO lets us in. Amazing as that would be, Smash was a grassroots scene, and it will continue to thrive as a grassroots scene as long as people are still playing and still invested into it. And if we keep putting in this work, we will get picked up by esports, because right now, this is just the beginning of Brawl. Like he said, this is day one of the podcast. And we're already getting all this support and love, and it's almost overwhelming at this point, because I never thought I'd see it amount to this. But thank you so much to everyone that's been part of it. I think we should all just say our last piece before we cut off the stream. Crimson said his piece. Max said his piece, I said mine, but we haven't really shown that much love to Dakota yet. So, man, you got this stream up and running. I think you should conclude her and close up shop. But yeah, it's just been amazing so far, guys. Thank you so much for the support, the encouraging words, and also the constructive criticism, because we've identified some problems in the community and some gaps that need to be filled. And I'm very confident that Brawl and Smash in general has the people that can fill those gaps and can take those roles, because we've identified that Brawl's been taken in the wrong direction, and the current leaders haven't stepped up and taken that role where they're creating more than just tournaments, but a culture for people to come and grow from. But I'm confident that not only with my series Get on My Level, but Doom's efforts in the community, Rapture's efforts in the community, Crimson's efforts in the community, even if he's not hosting Brawl tournaments, the help, even coming on this stream has helped the Brawl community.
Yeah, thank you so much, dude.
Yeah, dude, it's so dope. I'm just going to reiterate that one more time. But like I said, let's pass it off to Rapture, because you got to close this up, my man. I'm gonna tweet out some tweets, get some people to retweet the free SSBB tweet that I sent out. We're at like 73 retweets. If we can get to 100 by the end of the night, that would be incredible. There's 93 of you in there. 30 retweets, 30 clicks of a button, please. Show support, because it means a lot to us. It really does.
Yeah, guys, definitely thank you for tuning in. Here's something that I wanted to say that I saw some people talking about. I'm not sure where on Facebook. It may even have been in our new Facebook group, which a lot of people have joined too. You know, Brawl has had a number of times where people, including like Doom, have tried a number of different kinds of ways to play Brawl, whether it's 1 stock or 2 stock or less minutes or whatever it may be. Guys, you know, Brawl may not have a lot of time left in terms of it being in an opportunity like this to really get a good, you know, uprise and hype for the scene again. And with Smash 4 on the horizon, I say, why not? Let's try some more cool stuff. I think, honestly...
1 stock for life,
1 stock,
son.
throw in the 2 stock, do 1 stock, do it all up. I think if you have a cool idea for a tournament, tweet it to us, we'll retweet it, we'll let you know. I would love to go to some fun gimmick tournaments or new ways to play Brawl, because I don't see why not. I don't see why we shouldn't do it. And that's my advice to you. If you guys want to get involved, try some cool new stuff. If you don't think Brawl's fresh anymore, then make it fresh. Make it fresh in your own way. You know, put it in the refrigerator and get that nice freshness to it, because the game is, you know, the game's 6 years old. I don't see an expiration date on it that says March 2014, to be very honest with you.
Amen.
So,
Amen.
Hell yeah.
You know,
Amen
so put that back in the fridge. Put Brawl back in the fridge. Let it get freshened up. Let us know how you want to see Brawl get freshened up, because we'd love to host, you know, I would love to host some cool new things for Brawl, as well as support Melee and PM when Smash 4 comes out. So that's my piece. Try some cool new stuff for Brawl, because it's there, man.
I don't want to give anything away just yet, because this is just the first podcast. But I just want to say for our second episode, what you just raised, Dakota, there will definitely be announcements in regards to that, because now that MLG has dropped Smash from the official Anaheim event, that means we have leverage in terms of how we want our rule set to be. And I'm telling you right now, Get on My Level is going to change the game.
Yeah, that's what I want to
Hell yeah. That's what I'd like to hear, dude.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well,
all right, boys.
I think we're going to be signing off here. It's late here on East Coast. For those of you who have joined us around the rest of the country, wherever you're joining us from, thank you so much. We appreciate it. This has only been episode 1 of State of Brawl, so you guys better be tuning in. We'll keep you guys updated as Even Matchup Gaming will be hosting more episodes of State of Brawl, hopefully on a weekly basis. But, of course, we want to just make sure and finalize that schedule so we can do it properly, so we'll let you guys know for sure. Make sure you guys follow us, follow all the people who join us in the show. Shout outs to everybody who joined us earlier in the show. Xax, D-Disciple, E-Sam, Seagull, you guys, thank you guys for joining us earlier. I apologize we couldn't have you on longer, but we want to get some, get Crimson on as well. And of course, shout outs to Crimson for joining us. We appreciate it. Really glad to have had your insight on the show. And then obviously the rest of TSI, EMG, all my boys, Doom and Joe. Thank you guys for getting on the show with me. I'm Rapture, and I'm very glad to have brought this stream to you guys. Keep checking back, because we'll be doing more State of Brawl. We're putting Brawl back in the fridge, and we're gonna, you know, make it nice. And when we put it, we're gonna bring it out, and then we're gonna put it in the oven, and we're gonna heat it up. That's the next. First, we gotta freshen up, then we gotta heat it up. Fridge, then the oven. So let's do it, guys. I really think we can bring Brawl back to, you know, the hype that we saw at all the Apex that we've been to. I mean, we know Brawl's hype. You know, I love. You know, I'm a Brawl commentator. You know, first and foremost, and I know it's a hype game. So, and I know you guys know it too. So let's let everybody else know that it's hype. So, that's what I gotta say. Put it in the fridge and then pop it in the oven.
All right, yo,
Yeah,
guys. I'm about to play this Project M. Follow and check out Glick's channel at Glickstick. That's where we're gonna be doing it. And D1 wants to say one thing to you, Dakota, but actually no, he says he's going to save it for the next one. He said he wanted to get some words in before the stream ended, but I think it's definitely, you know, we'll just, like you said, keep it fresh for next time.
All right, guys. I will be ending
One
the
unit,
broadcast.
guys.
Thank you guys for
One
joining
unit.
us.
One unit, yo. One unit.
One unit.
Free Smash, free Melee,
Free
free
Brawl.
SSG, free
I love
everything.
y'all, and thanks for having me on. You guys are great.
Definitely, dude.
thank you.
Anytime.
It's been our
We'll
pleasure.
definitely have you on in the future. All right, guys. We'll be signing off. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. All that good stuff.